something that's always been quite interesting for me in workers and resources is the whole scrapping system. Like in all my runs, I try and have an economy that does importing hazardous waste and burning it and separating it and selling off or using the materials that come from the waste. That way you can have metal scrap into steel, aluminium scrap into aluminium, which usually gets sold, but obviously you can do some repairs or you can make your own flight vehicles, aircraft out of it, and also plastic. But there's also, when you scrap vehicles and have collect resources from vehicles enabled, you can also get a really small amount of mechanical components and electro components, and also mixed waste that has some plastic waste in it. So by scrapping vehicles, you can actually get a pretty decent amount of all of these materials if you can do it in volume. It's just quite micro intensive. Like, see over here, I've got a 59% wear and tear Kalinin K5 plane. I've got an MI4 that's 92% wear and tear, and 81% MI4, 5 tons, 5 tons, 3 tons, and that's what it's all about really. It's about the weight in tons. Like, see this Russell bolt, this gives me 2 tons of scrap. So if I was to get a Russell bolt, what is it, R45, T45, a new one would cost about 4,000, but old ones, if you can find them, I'm just buying all these up. So the way this works, I'll have a look at this again. So that gives about 2 tons of scrap metal. That's an open hull T40 65, open hull T40 open. So this would be 4 tons. So this thing weighs 4 tons, and it's given me about 2 tons of metal scrap and 1.5 tons of steel. That is actually really good. I'm currently in a lot of debt. Like, see, the way to figure out, this is what this video is all about basically. It's about figuring out at a glance how you know if it's worth it to buy a old vehicle from customs border and scrap it. I assumed that when I bought this that I was going to get about 4 tons of metal scrap. That's what you should do. It's basically just, alright, see the total mass of this vehicle when it's brand new, it's 4 tons, and if you add up all of these weights here, you do get about 4 tons. We were at about 1.5 tons of steel, which again is really good, and we had about 1.5 tons of metal scrap, and then we had some electrical components, some mechanical, and then some mixed waste, and that all basically added up to about 4 tons. So 4 tons, and I think the average weight is basically around metal scrap, but in this case the steel pulled up quite a lot. So metal scrap is currently worth 200 per ton, and I assumed when I bought this that it was going to have 4 tons of metal scrap equivalent value. So I just did 200 times 4 for 800, and I think I bought this thing for about 140. So if I check for any new things, right, this thing weighs less than a ton, I'm going to just assume 1 ton, so that's 200 rubles that's worth, so that's not worth it. Again, that's worth 200 rubles, 200 rubles, 200 rubles, 200, that's worth about 1200 rubles. This is worth about 800 rubles, this one, and it costs, so none of these are worth it. This one's worth about 1400, this one's worth about 1000, and then you can sort of reset after a while by looking at different types of vehicles. Like this, like see this here, this Weimar Dampfkran, this is 40 tons, it's a rail vehicle, rail locomotive I think, yeah, track builder. So I would assume that that's going to be about 40 tons equivalent in metal scrap, and that would make it worth about 8,000. So I'm not going to buy that yet. It might get more wear and tear and then eventually be worth it, but for now I'm not going to do it. I've already got 28 things. Alright, I'm going to pause now. Alright, that's 3.1 plus 1.1, 4.2, 4.35, 4.8, about almost 5 tons, right? So that's the amount of mass that I'm going to get out of that, about 5 tons. And the steel pulls up the value of the mixed waste a little bit. There's a tiny amount of mechanical and electro there, so I'm going to just assume 5 tons, right? Just under 5 tons. So I'm going to look for YA4, 5 tons. Which one is it? Right, which one? Shit. It's the covered hull YA4. YA4. Alright, it's this one. This thing weighs 4 tons, but it actually weighs a little bit more than 4 tons because it's over 4 tons and it's rounded down. So I would spend 800 on one of those and it'll give me all of this. I think I spent less than that on this. I'm going to start fast forward now. I'm going to let some vehicles scrap and I'm going to let some time pass. But that's how you figure that out, right? That's how you figure out the scrap value. And then I'm going to look here. Aluminium scrap's worth 450, so I'm just going to call that 500 and play it safe whenever I make decisions. So this thing weighs 4 tons. So that's about $2,000 rubles. Well, I'm going to go for the rubles one first. Alright, this. Alright. 1 ton about 500, 2 tons about 1,000, 7 tons about 3,500, so I'm not going to do any of them. And then I'm going to go to this, and we've got 1 ton about 500, 7, yeah. So none of these are worth it at the moment. This one's the closest pretty much, but I'm not going to bother. And then let's have a look at the NATO border. We've got $800, and right now that it's early game, so dollars and rubles are about the same value. I usually look at something like fuel to gauge that, and there's basically a dollar-ruble parity at the moment. So it's about 200 still, and 400 for aluminium. Yeah, I'm way in debt right now, and I'm trying to just survive while only having scrapping and recycling and all that as my economy. These trains can actually really be worth it because they weigh 150 tons, so that's 150 divided by... well, the way I think about that is I just divide the tons by 5, and that's how many thousands, so that's going to be worth about 30,000, basically. This is going to be worth about 40,000, this is going to be worth about 20,000, so none of these are worth it right now. This one is worth about 25,000. There we go, and I'm just going to let that sit there and rot. I've already got a few that are rotten here. Where's all my things that are rotten? Yeah, I've already got another one that's rotten right now. So I already bought one of these ages ago, and it's been rotten ever since, and when I've got electrified lines set up here, which I could do with the steel and the electro components that I'm getting from this operation, I'll be able to just send all them into this and they'll all get scrapped. Let's see if there's any more things appearing. No. Nothing appearing so far. Tower cranes are an interesting one. I've never done them before with this, so I'd have to pull them from the border manually. This thing is still just slowly depreciating, and that will let me get that. I could buy this track builder. A new track builder would cost how much? 115,000, so it's tempting to just do that right now. Yeah, this is going to put me in a lot of debt, I think. Alright, so we're going to buy a track builder. Track builder. This is 19%, 3 years old. I'm going to just buy that and use it. That saved me a little bit of money. And I'm going to... Whoops. Going to put that in here. And I've been waiting to do that for a while. I had one that I could have bought for about 50,000 rubles a while ago and I never did it. But yeah, I've only got a small population over here, and I've went for a different layout that's really spread out. I don't like doing this, but I just wanted to sort of LARP a spread out town. It's been a shit decision. I prefer cramming everything. This is shit right now. Even though there's all these roads asphalted, this house here can reach this school, and it's pissing me off quite a lot, because if I'm going to asphalt this, it's going to let them starve for a while. So I don't like having this spread out, spacious town layout. It's pissing me off quite a lot. I don't like it. And I've got a heating plant down here, and I'm just graveling stuff up right now. And I'm trying to just sort of stay afloat with scrapping. Seems like it's not bad. I've had a few shipments out of metal scrap so far. We're producing metal scrap at a decent rate. Every 1% this goes up gives me 2 rubles, because it's worth 200 metal scrap. 200 rubles per ton. Also, my vehicles here are not in range of a repair station because I decided to make my repair station up here beside the town, just in range of one of the in range of this house here, and it's sort of working. Also, we got bus stop giving workers to it, so I'm having to manually send vehicles up to get repaired, which is definitely pissing me off a little bit. Right, let's do another check. I've been doing this on and off constantly. Yeah, no candidates here. I'm still waiting on some of these aircraft to get. Look, I've already got 13 tons of steel in here. That's not even that bad. Yeah, look, I was sort of breaking even a bit on an economy based entirely on important hazardous waste, burning it with a small incinerator. Also, I should mention that this new DLC has loads of absolute shit heap banger vehicles, and that's constituting probably a decent chunk of the cost-effective buys, like all these Gaganows and Gazes and Yags, all this garbage here. There's been an occasional one-off, like a few helicopters and planes, like the Mi-4 is a pretty modern helicopter. There's also this modern cistern, NATO cistern, so there has been some... Oh shit, I'm developing track out too far. Gonna send that back. Whoops. Just tabbed out. Yeah. Ah fuck, I've got to put this down a bit. I'm waiting on this depot to go up so I can put this track builder in there, or otherwise scrap it. I wouldn't mind scrapping this thing, because it's just shite. Once you've got these, you want to just scrap those pieces of shit. Yeah, so I've got the depot set up there to do that. I've got the gas station, petrol station for trains set up. The scrapping's going quite well. Workers are getting sent here. I'm keeping my population educated quite well early on, with very few houses. Yeah, so we're educating people sustainably. I've got this university that did some researches with imported foreign workers. That was kind of shit. I got a little bit of the way to what I wanted there, which is a properly efficient way to burn waste, and then I just gave up and stopped importing workers to this. But I could keep going if I become stable in terms of money, because sending your own workers here when there's no heating is a bad idea. You want to just let your foreign labourers freeze to death. Yeah, I want to get more scrapping going so I can show more stuff. That's the purpose of this video. Alright, 4 tons, 50%. This thing appeared here, I think, or is this old? 4 tons, and aluminium is worth $469, so that's going to be about $2,000 worth of aluminium scrap, so I'm not going to bother with that. Let's check for more vehicles. Alright, we have a gas. This is a great example. Finally, we've got some good examples. Oh my god, look. This thing is worth 950 rubles, and its empty weight is 105 tons. That is going to be about 20,000 once it's scrapped. 105 tons for 900 rubles. Jesus. And then this gas for 45 rubles that weighs a ton. Gonna call it a ton and a half, because I don't know what the actual weight is. But I'm buying them, and then we've got this thing for 4 tons. That's 95% messed up. But remember, stick to the ruble cost and the ton empty weight, because that's all that really matters. It doesn't really matter about the wear and tear or how old something is. It might affect the ratio of steel to metal scrap, but really you should just be focusing on how much does it cost in rubles, what is the metal scrap ruble equivalent for this thing. Like, see this one, this is worth about 1200, this one's worth about 800, this one's worth about 800, maybe barely 1000, so I'm gonna just buy it and scrap it. Let's see if there's any more. This is worth 800, I'm gonna skip that. This is worth 800. This is worth 2000. This is worth 1400. Yeah, alright, now trains again. This is 30 tons and it's worth about 6,000. 40 tons worth about 8,000. 173 tons, that's worth about 30,000. 182 tons, that's worth about 30,000 as well. 36,000. And this is worth about 20,000. Yeah, so it's interesting how this all works. I've already got loads of trains here. Like, if I tell them to go to depot, it's not going to do much, if anything, because this is all trains. I've got A 28-ton train, 2 28-ton trains, 3 28-ton trains. Then I've got this thing that weighs 148 tons. This thing weighs 4 tons. Wait a minute. Road vehicle. That's a crane, I think. That's a crane. Alright, so I could try this. Where is my flatbed? I had a flatbed around here. Alright, so we're gonna get vehicles. This is how you would do cranes. I've never done this before. We're gonna take the crane and bring it over here. Open trailer worth is giving me 6 tons of metal scrap, a ton of steel. Alright, that's going to be YAG 10. I'm going to take a look at that. How much is that? That's going to be about 6 tons. Wait, YAG 10, open. This is it, isn't it? Wait a minute. Open trailer, 8 tons. I think I got a really good deal on that when I bought it. It's given me 8 tons of stuff. Yeah, that adds up, right? 6 tons. So you would double what it shows right now. 6 tons, 7 tons, 8 tons. So that's it. This is how you figure this out and actually make decisions without guessing on whether something's worth it to scrap or not. I like doing this, it's fun, it's interesting. See when you spot those absolute bargains, like a train for only 1,000 rubles that's 100 tons? Jesus. And this is ignoring whether this labour is actually being really productive. 20 workers can create a lot of value, of course, but I kinda just like being able to make almost for free using surplus labour. Because that's what this labour is right now. I have no economies set up, like no industries, I mean. It seems quite decent. Right, where's the open hull? Oh my god, it's on it. Alright, so this crane weighs 4 tons. And we're bringing it to get scrapped. See, it works. So I've got open hulls bringing old busted shit to get scrapped. It's cool, I like this. Oh my god, come on. I need to set the tasks here for this. Alright, you just get back. And I'm gonna assign that to get done as well. How's my signals looking? I can't see any signals right now, it's bullshit. Hold down Alt and it does that. Yeah, I can't see my signals. Shit, that's why. Okay, I've sort of fixed this a bit. I've got one length of track that goes all the way through and gives me access to that. This is low priority, I don't really care about this all. 5 workers in there, 26 workers in here, and the crane is getting dropped off right about now. Added to the pile, there it goes. I didn't notice this claw before, that's funny. Alright, we got 20 workers in here doing a lot of scrapping. We have 14 tons of steel now. Let's take a look again at the planes and helicopters. 4 tons, nah. Nah, you can just sort of tell at a glance from all the digits whether this is going to work. Broken vehicle. Nah, for fuck's sake, yeah. Alright, you can start again, you've been repaired. Yeah, that's the scrapping system, just get workers in. Oh, this weighs 0 tons. I don't think this is worth it though. This is a decent forklift. This is something that was added. It's only got an engine power of 5 kilowatts and it's quite effective. That seems expensive. Forklifts. Man, it's only gone down in its value by about half. That's crap. I went for one of these at my shopping centre because it's got such low engine power, so it means that the fuel overhead for moving around small volume is basically 0. It's actually quite decent. Let's hunt for more stuff to get scrapped. 4 tons worth about 800. Let's check the metal scrap price. Yeah, over 200 rubles now. 800, 1200, 200, 200, 200, 200, yeah. 1600, this is worth 1000. Yeah, these are just not worth it. Oh man, I'm still in debt. 1600. Any trains? This is worth 6000. Yeah, some of these big trains you have to really look at and figure out properly because they can easily be worth it. 123 tons. I want to start scrapping one of these massive fucking things. Man, I want to just start scrapping a giant train and then edit it on to the end of this. 793. 14 tons, that's worth about 3,000. 13 tons, 3,000. These trains, when you can scrap them, it's great though. I've done it before, I've scrapped a couple of trains before, it's great. It's a lot of labour to do it, but it gives a lot of metal scrap, a lot of resources. Alright, we scrapping any helicopters or anything yet? Oh wow, look at this. This thing is... I spent almost nothing for this, I think. I wish it would have it stamped on it, how much you paid for it. Like what the write-off was on it, that you had to spend to get it. I've got 27 vehicles in here that are all profitably scrapped. And that train for 900 rubles, I'm so glad that happened in this video. Oh, nah, that's crap. 1 ton for 1,000 is garbage. Yeah, these are all shit. You could even scrap using foreign labour. It would probably stop being worth it at that point, I don't know. Depends. Like, see if you're buying those giant trains and scrapping them with foreign labour, I think that's alright. I've got 60 tons of metal scrap in here right now. I should have a dumper coming to get that. Oh man, I don't like the fucking stupid little track builder wasting my time there with that. Right, this is wasting its time. Putting that in there. Let's try and get some more vehicles just to really make the point here of how this is worth it. Yeah, I spent 70,000 on importing that track builder and I spent 74,000 and I'm only 4,000 down for this month, so my economy's working here. See if I can get a big 15-ton shipment of metal scrap, that will show how this works. Because I've only got like 10, 20, 30 workers in here at any given time, and I'm getting exports of 3,000 rubles on metal scrap while I'm accumulating steel and aluminium and electro and mechanical, so it's really not bad. Also, see this waste here? This is like an ore of metal scrap and plastic waste. You really want to run this through... I don't have any aluminium waste in there, do I? Yet? I don't think so. Nah. So, we haven't produced any aluminium rich waste yet. Alright, we're above 30 workers, that's not bad. Alright, let's do another test on a vehicle. So, I'm gonna probably have something chunky here. Alright, that's a gas A water, that's a ton of steel. Wow, that's mostly steel. So I'm getting mostly steel from that, so that is... Steel's worth 400, so I'm getting 600 in value in steel. Oh shit. And I'm getting half a ton of metal scrap. So that's 2 tons, gas A water, 2 tons. Water, gas A water, 2 tons, there we go, so that's worth about, I would have paid about 400 for that, and I'm getting a ton and a half of steel scrap out of this, plus some mechanical, electro, mixed waste. I want to see a plane getting scrapped, something like that. Alright, we're waiting on the water, and then the garbage, and then this helicopter's going to get scrapped, and that's 5 tons, so that's going to be about 4 tons of aluminium scrap for about 2,000 rubles. That's really not that bad. Like, if you can just get these things at discount, like a serious discount, that's really decent. It'd be fun to try and just play the game and have an economy of scrapping like this and survive on it. It wouldn't be very scalable and there's not any way to automate it. And also the pool of vehicles to get scrapped is not high enough. Like, you should really have more, it should be unique for each customs. Oh wait, look, alright, 4 tons and it's 500, so that's $100 per ton, which is well under the $200 amount. Alright, we've got another one as well. We've got 14 tons, that's worth about 2,800. Buying that as well. Let's keep going. 5 tons, 1,000, 9 tons, 1,800, 7 tons, 1,400. Alright, so now we're getting into the trains again. And the trains definitely hang around for a long time. And they're not worth it. Alright, so I'm gonna now send all of these to get scrapped. And check this again. Nah. Alright, let's check the planes here. Nah. 4 tons, 3,500. We're still stuck on that. Crap. Alright, we're gonna be able to see a plane getting scrapped now. And I might pick this up again when I've got trains getting scrapped, because that's when the real money comes in, trains. And you could also do ships, of course. Alright, we've got 3.6 tons of aluminium scrap. We've got half a ton of aluminium. We've got a small amount of metal scrap, steel and mechanical, almost no steel. 2 tons of mixed waste. That'll be interesting to see if there's any aluminium in this. I don't see any coming. 21.43 tons. Yeah, I see no aluminium scrap ending up in there. So it seems like the mixed waste is pre-sorted of aluminium scrap. So you'd see that would be interesting, because that would mean that if you're scrapping aircraft, you don't need to have that. If you have a massive industry of scrapping vehicles and it includes aircraft, you don't need to have an aluminium separator included in the chain of output for that. You don't need to have one of these. You only need to have this if you're going to be importing waste like this. Like, see this here? This is 20% aluminium scrap. I can't sort this yet. I don't have the technology. I'm just currently relying on sorting by hand with old vehicles. Yep, no aluminium's ended up in this. So far I've got 2.5 tons of aluminium scrap, 50 tons of metal scrap. We're producing metal scrap really quickly. 200 work days to get 4 tons of aluminium and scrap, I think, just about. Gotta keep borrowing. Yeah, the economy's starting to look not bad. And I'm gonna keep building this track out. Come on, man. Or I need to designate this to get done. I need to get that other track builder out of the way where it's no longer going to be causing issues. Alright, we're going to do these pieces. There's the vehicle coming, 4 tons to get scrapped right now. And my population should hopefully be going up still. Fixing the crane. I've now got 59 educated people. We've almost fully staffed this. We're educating more. I've got some of these new buildings as well from that DLC in this. Like, you can put galleries of art that don't need a road access. You can put a museum that has 20 staff and doesn't need road access. There's a monument that has 550 meters radius that isn't a paid shell slab assist or DLC for tax breaks, and that covers this whole town. This is useful. Kremlin Tower. What else is there? Oh yeah, some of these brick houses that are 85% quality are decent for putting down in tight spaces like this. This is 36 workers that fit in here, and it's a decent shape. And there's different schools as well. Like, this school has 25 staff, so it's not really bulky, it's a decent shape, like rectangular, that fits quite well. Some of the kindergartens and schools are really horrible in terms of their footprint. Shopping centres are not appealing though. I'm still just set on this one, and also you eventually want to just switch to Nipro flats, or else what's it called? That prefab that's 96% high quality living. It's between them and Nipro flats still, unless you're going for smaller things. Still scrapping this. Still getting some decent workers out to here to do it. We have some maintenance going on. Yeah, we really haven't managed to recover much aluminium yet. Let's check this again. Okay, we have a 183 ruble, 4 tons. Buying that. That's worth 800. We have a 6 ton that's worth 1200. Buying that. And I think now we're down to the shit. So it's usually the lightest things that you want, and then occasionally you'll get a train that's really good. Some of these trains are getting close to being worth it, you know. Keep borrowing. And send all these to the scrap. And check this again. Nah, nothing here. Trains. Some of the NATO trains can be appealing. I'm gonna have to electrify a lot of the rail to get them out here though, that's the thing. Nah. Alright, let's check. That helicopter... Alright, I can now put this one in, because that one's been taken in to get scrapped, so I can move this one. This is an 82% busted NI4, and you don't need any research to do this. Eventually I think you're going to want to have a proper landing strip, like a 1000 meter one, so you're going to have to think about that. Helicopters though, you can immediately just get access to all of them by having a heliport, because it's only that size of heliport that you need. Alright, now I'm going to take a look again. No way these are worth it. No way. None of these are worth it. None of these are worth it. Helicopters are... Nah, it's unlikely you'll find anything. And I think some of the big planes can definitely be worth it though eventually later on. Could do that, like it would open up... Nah, look, I need to get special taxiways. Yeah, like see, in order to have the heavier planes, which are going to have all the real aluminium, you're going to have to get a proper runway. Let's see what kind of space I've got here for a runway, because I just doubt it. Alright, well I could maybe bullshit a runway down over here. I'd have to go from there. Yeah, that's a lot to ask. I could maybe do it like if I was to do a diagonal runway from here. Fuck. Runway. Nah. Alright, well that gives me 970, which I think is one of the numbers. So that proves that I could get a 970 runway in. Let's see if there's anything else now. Oh, that's 5 tons. I think I might have opened up some more. Takeoff distance 650. Alright, so I have opened up some more possibilities here. 5 tons. But I'm never going to have a plane that weighs more than about 9 tons showing up in this. Unless I have bigger parking. So that's something I could eventually do, just go for a bigger parking spot and just do this. Alright, well I could get... Man, it would cost a lot of asphalt and gravel, but that's what I need to do. I need to get a much bigger parking spot. Because right now we're only going to have small wingspan planes that are really light. It's not going to work very well. Here comes a MAZ 200. Any more stuff I can scrap? 4 tons, 4 tons, 6 tons, 1200. So this is getting close. This is worth 1200. 1600, 800. This is worth about 6,000. This is worth about 3,000. So none of these are really worth it whatsoever. This is worth 8,000. This is worth... This is worth about 16,000. That's worth about 30. Oh man. We're doing a decent job though. We're profitable at this point. I'm doing the sewage import as well a little bit. And that's why these are getting so worn down. So I'm importing waste, importing sewage, exporting mixed waste that's an ore of construction, metal and aluminium. Yeah. That's probably a big chunk of my economy still. $900, nope. Sometimes you might even want to use some of these things, like see this marquee flatbed, that's a decent vehicle. And eventually I could start exporting aluminium back to NATO to subsidise future vehicle purchases. Or even just steel, you know, any steel that gets created, but we'd probably want to just inject steel into our own steel channels. Oh, here we go, 59 rubles at 10 tons. Communar combined, 59 rubles, that is basically free. Jesus, that is exactly what you want. That's a perfect example. Holy shit. See that? You have to just keep checking occasionally and you get this, get these opportunities. I wish I could automate this. I really wish I could automate this. Alright, let's have a look at our busted piece of shit that we just got. Where is it? Oh shit, it's there. This is 10 tons of pure garbage for 50 rubles. They paid us to take it almost. At that point they're just paying you to take it. Holy shit, look at the state of it. 10 tons for 59 rubles. 98% wear and tear, 36 years old. Thing is just fucked. They paid us to give it to take off their hands. Jesus. That's 10 tons of free metal scrap. Which right at the start of the game is worth it. Let's have a look. We're still we've finished scrapping the plane. 5.46 rubles, or that was a helicopter, an Mi-4. We're doing another export of metal scrap, so the rubles are coming in, and I'm only borrowing at 2.1%, so really no problems there. We're profitable. There's another 3,000 rubles going out. 3,000 rubles of metal scrap. And I separated this because it was just a bit of a problem. And now I can't connect it again, which is not great. Not great. But I'm almost connected to the depot and I'm going to be able to get this track builder in to get scrapped. I'm going to be able to connect up customs with my scrapper here. And I'm going to try and get NATO connected up too, and I'm going to try and have this all electrified, and then I'll just send in a flood of trains to get scrapped, and I'll hopefully have more population, and I'll be able to show that off. That should be interesting, so I'm going to keep doing that, and this will continue then. Alright, picking up again, and we have massive train scrapping going on. I've already got a few trains that have been scrapped, but I've just kept buying more and sending them in. I've now got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 locomotives in there. And I've got 50 workers in here going up to 60, so this is a large scrapping facility and it's actually getting decent utilisation. Even now I'm getting a combine harvester that I bought for about 1,000 that's given me about 10 scrap metal, 2 steel, a lot of mixed waste. I filled up the internal steel buffer pretty much and the scrap just keeps coming out. There's another 15 tons of scrap going for 3,000, this is definitely profitable. It's a funny way of generating value. Let's see if there's any more things we can get. This is worth 8,000. This is worth about 15,000. Value of scrap metal is 210. So this is almost worth it. In fact, that might even be worth it because it's only 3 years old. It's electrified though, so I would want to scrap that immediately because I think it would have a good amount of steel to scrap metal and it would be worth it. That's probably easily worth it in fact. Whoops. We've got 0 tons. Alright, nothing in here that we can get, that we'd want to get. I want to see that train, the amount of scrap metal, and then I'll compare that to the floor for the ceiling for how much I would be willing to pay for it and see how safely lucrative it is. So I'm going to let this get scrapped and we'll go onto the train and see what its weight is. And oh, look at that, 1 ton for 160, 1 ton for 300 and 25,000 for this, worth 8,000. This is worth 20,000. Yeah, this is the big one, it's only 3 years old. That means it's going to yield a lot of steel when I scrap that. So I would want to scrap that. Let's have a look at the workers now. Oh, it's dropped off. We should be able to make it with our buses. Let's have a look. 2.5 hours travel time. Yeah, I think that should be safely making it. I'm still building the track. Yeah, so I connected this track up and I got all the coal and fuel locomotives into the scrapper. And we're about to properly start on that now. Amount due tomorrow, 12,000. Interest rate is now 2.1%, so... yeah, we're still profitable consistently, I think. I don't know, it might have some steel shipments coming in that are going to fuck this up. Because I'm doing a lot of track building right now and that's a lot of steel, so even with all this track building going on, I'm still basically breaking even. Which is not even that bad. I want to get this fucking scrapped and see how the trains look and use my formula and see how much profit I stand to gain. Yeah, nothing here that I'd want. Yeah, nothing there. And then in this, that gas might be almost worth it. This is worth about 800, it's 11 years old, so probably not much steel. This is how you think about this, and it's another variable. I think the newer something is in terms of its absolute age, the more steel that you get as opposed to scrap. It's the way to think about it. You generally want to get the newest possible vehicles that have really high wear. I've noticed that all the 99% wear vehicles are the absolute best. They're really good. So here's I bought this for, what is it, about 1,000? Something like 1,000 I paid for this. 21 years old, 56% wear and tear. Spent about 1,000, it weighs 14 tons, that's worth 2,800. I spent about 1,000 on that, so that's 1,000 rubles right there. Minimum. This bus has 27 people in it. Do I have any fuel or coal locomotives in this? Nah, just tube stations. Tube. Is that all? Yeah, I'm not increasing my debt even with all this track that I'm laying, so there's a lot of value being spent on track and I'm still breaking even. So that's what you want. You just want to avoid a debt spiral because inflation can always just eat away the debt eventually. This is worth 25,000, this is worth 8,000. Yeah, I do want to get that, but I want to have electrified track first, and I've already got enough electrical components there to electrify track, I think. I've got a warehouse that has a few pieces in it. Okay, now we're on to 123 tons of scrap metal, here we go. So, that's 123 tons, 130 tons, 133... Alright, 133 tons for a P36. Okay, so that's 148 tons. I would have spent at most about 30,000 on this. So for 30,000, which I think I paid about 10,000 for that, or a little bit less, or maybe around 10,000, I'm getting 60,000. No, not 60,000. That's about 25,000 in scrap metal plus about 5,000 in steel, and that's 1,700 work days, so that's going to give me a lot of scrap metal. We're taking another load of scrap metal to get exported for 3,000 right there. And as you can see, the metal scrap numbers are just flying up. And I'm even getting steel. This is going to absolutely fill up. In terms of planes, 4 tons, so this is worth it. Okay, there we go. That's a plane that I've got now as well. And then for these, 1 ton, no, 3 tons, no. Yeah, I do want to get the proper runway and the electrified track, so once I've done that, I'll be back. But here you go, a steam P36 yielding, with 1,700 work days, about 150 tons of metal. That's really not bad. So I'll continue this when I've got electrified track and proper runways, I think. Here it comes. Here's the plane that I spent almost nothing on, about 2,000. And that's going to get scrapped. So that can just go straight in here and get added to the queue. And I can keep looking for anything else. Alright, that's that not blocked anymore. That's 1 ton. 5 tons, yeah. I really need to be able to get those advanced high mass planes, and they'll really know how I stand here and how it's going. So I'll try and get that going, and then I'll continue this. Alright, I'm just cutting this in because it's absolutely hilarious, but I just got a tunnel boring machine for 100,000 rubles. It was a while ago, and it's been sitting at the customs, waiting, or it was sitting in this after I had it in customs for a while, so I waited in customs, then I brought it in here, and it was queued up for ages because I had so many train sets that I was scrapping, but now we've finally gotten through to the tunnel boring machine. 5,700 work days of scrapping, 200 tons of metal scrap, and 237 tons of steel. Look at that! 237 tons of steel, 16 tons of mechanical components, 3 tons of electrical components, and 36 tons of waste. So for 100,000, I have 100,000 worth of steel, more than that, and some scrap, even electrical components, which are worth 2,000 rubles. So that's 6,000 in electrical components, 36 tons of mixed waste, which is an ore for more metal scrap and plastic waste. And I just thought I'd edit this in because it's absolutely hilarious. Look at that. And I've got the track electrified. We're into 1970 now, so we're still taking it slow and just getting things going. I've been spending a lot on stuff to scrap, and I've been staying afloat. And now I'm getting to the point where I've got a locomotive coming in here. Like it's refueling right now. Yeah, it's refueled, so now I can send it in there. That's my locomotive that's going to be dragging the metro trains. Trams can get here on their own, but metros can't, so metros have to be dragged. But I can now drag every vehicle into there, and then use a waypoint to send it back into there, unless I want to just do a... Could do this. Yeah, I should do that. Oh wait, no, I'm gonna just do a shit track for this. Just a piece of shit track should do fine. There we go. And then I would signal there, get rid of these, and signal there. There we go. So that's an intersection now, and I could also just chain here. There we go. So now it's 2 intersections. We got chain set up, and that'll get done when I give it more workers. This snack can't get through to that because it's too long. It can't reverse into that shit. Ah, goddamn. This stuff we have to deal with. Yeah, I really can't get in there. It's up too close. I would need to get a shit track builder. Jesus. The shit you've got to do. But yeah, I'm just laughing because I'm 3% of the way scrapped with that. We've now got steel flying up quite fast. Look at that. We're getting so much steel. That's basically like a steel recycler. That's more steel. My debt is at 1 million, but it's getting diluted, and I've got so many vehicles stored up. 14 trains that are worth easily 1 million in terms of the steel. And then over here I've got all these tube sets. That's 128 tons each. That's 250, 375, 500, 6, that's about 1,000 tons. That's 1,000 tons of steel basically, which is about 500 grand. And I've got this here. This is... It's a vehicle I bought at some point. Yeah, I'm just letting things accumulate now, so I have control when I'm trying to do a showcase of scrapping planes and stuff. We've almost got the runway done. That's a 1,000 meter runway. I just squeezed it in. And I'm also having to empty the waste out of this and put it into this one, because this is valuable ore. It contains plastic and metal scrap, so I'm just going to build more stands and store it all. Oh Jesus. I'm going to suspend, and I'm going to tell it to... Jesus Christ, I can't get in to do that. Fuck off. Son of a bitch. Ugh, God damn it. That's a really awkward one, man. Gonna suspend up there as well. Gonna tell this to get in here. Now can I do it? Oh, now I can do it. Nice. That's good. That means I can get in there and do that. Alright, let's borrow another 50 grand and keep the scrapping going. Okay, so that'll get done. Oh yeah, good. So now I can go from... Once I drop off metros and trams or whatever, I can get back in here. That's cool. That means I can do... Look at all this crap I've got stored up. Holy shit. It's fun playing like this. We've now got a scrap value of 4 per 1,000. So that's how I need to think about the value of all this, 4 per 1,000. That's 1,000, that's 2,000, that's 8,000. This says 25,000, 18,000, 17,000, 16,000, 8,000. Man, 184 tons, that's worth about 45,000, that's worth about 30,000. So I'm just being patient, continuing to accumulate stuff. And I'm staying fine for dollars for the moment because I'm starting to sell some of my surpluses over to the NATO border to... Because I'm buying food with this one because it's closer to the town and because I wanted to use all of my dollar reserve. But yeah, this is funny, I'm hanging on, everything's going well. My complex is coming alive. Oh shit. I no longer have to import steel. If that wasn't obvious, I'm making so much steel that I no longer have to import any of it. And all of my buses are making it up to here. No, that one's not. My snowplows are being a bit lazy at the moment. Yeah, I'm just waiting on my runways and all that to get finished, and then I'll continue this. So it looks like this is working. We've now got electrified rail, which I'm not really using because I've started to just use this piece of track here to tow in and out and go between all these 3 points without any hiccups. We're getting kinda low on vehicles to scrap in here. We're actually getting through it all and scrapping it. The planes are not really worth it. Oh wait, there we go, 3 tons and 1,000 rubles for this Tupolev. I'm getting that. Anything else? 5 tons. Yeah, aluminium scrap is still worth about 500. I'm using 2 per 1,000 to gauge all of this. I've had a few of these chais. You can usually get them for about 400 rubles or something like that. And obviously you get some aluminium out of that whole thing, so... Oh wait, I can tell him to go straight to there. That's another thing you can do. You can buy them in with this parking slot and then you can just immediately send them to where they're meant to go. Yeah, that's worth 2,500, that's not worth it. Yeah, so it's really just about using the train sets. Like, yeah, my debt's starting to go down. I've stabilised my dollar debt. Let's have a look at... Alright, 2 tons. Oh yeah, metal scrap's value has gone down to about 200 in 1971. So 2 tons is worth 400, that's 8 times return. This might be just on the edge of worth it or not. Alright, 280, that's worth it. That's not worth it. Yeah, these are not worth it. I'm looking for train sets mostly. They're the best thing to get. You can usually get train sets for anywhere between 5 and 50,000 and get something like 100,000 of value out of them. So they're what you want. The electric trains, you can occasionally get one of them, but it's really the train sets. They have all of the best returns. They're really good. Containers full, what the fuck. Alright, I'm gonna buy another piece of shit. Oh fuck. Alright, this thing's full, so I need to start taking waste out of this and moving it. And to do that, I'm gonna have to get another distribution office right across from this. Let's just put this down. Alright, so yeah, gonna have to sort this out soon. In the meantime, mixed waste has to go. Could just start dumping it in there. I've got a distribution office that can handle this though, don't I? I've got Right, I've got this for now, so this can take some of the stress off of this temporarily. So we're gonna start taking waste out. Oh man, he's busy. Alright, I'm gonna buy another waste truck, just a small one temporarily, and then I'll move it over. Russell bolts. Alright, I'll go with 2 of these, and then I'll start moving them around. I just want cheap ones, even if they're ancient. Yeah, I need to check up here. So it does work. This whole system works quite well. Our dollar value for scrap is 168, so it's 6 for 1. So I need to have 6 metal scrap per 1,000 to make this worth it. That's the whole thing. You have to have the ratios right in order to make proper decisions that are actually economical. There's nothing there at the moment. Check this again. Oh, look, 62 rubles for something worth at least 400. See, this is all value. You're just finding value when you do this. Every time you buy something like this, you're just making basically free money. And none of these are worth it. These are all shit. You're gonna have to wait ages for them to go away. And I've got only 4 vehicles left in here. Just a 100-ton train that I bought for about, I think it was 4,000 rubles. So that's going to give me how much metal and steel? Let's have a look. 4,000 rubles I paid for this, and it gives me 82 tons of metal scrap, which is worth about 16,000. That's 16,000 plus 8 tons of steel for about 4,000, so that's about 20,000, so that's a 500% return on this train. In addition to the mechanical parts, and I'm exporting all that stuff now. I've got this flatbed that picks up the steel, and I've got this covered hull that's taking the mechanical components non-stop and putting them in warehouses, and if that isn't available as a space, then it goes to customs, and I'm sending metal scrap to this custom. No, a minute. I've got dumpers in here handling that. Yeah, so this custom house here, I send all my steel, all my aluminium, electro and mechanical. And we're already 15% into this train. The metal scrap is going really fast. Look, this one has 15 tons and it's taken it up to here, and that's given me a bit of a refund on my dollars. Yeah, this runway is 1,030 meters, so that's working. Also, I was getting so much steel in. Oh wait, look at that, there's a plane. Alright, that one can go straight to here. There we go, another plane. So the planes are worth it. That's going to pay for all of the maintenance of these. It's only asphalt, concrete and gravel, so it's no big deal. Yeah, let's have a look at this now. No, nothing. But yeah, this is cool, being able to just see at a glance all these planes that I could be getting. And that's going to give me 4 tons of aluminium, or aluminium scrap, and that goes in here. I've got full steel. The metal scrap, I'm making that in the hundreds of tons. It's coming in really fast. Let's have a look and see it flying up. Look at that. That's how quickly I'm making metal scrap from scrapping, and I'm buying that metal scrap at a massive discount, effectively. And then the steel is coming in too, and you can see that in here. Sometimes this shoots up really fast. Like, see if I had a lucky vehicle that has a high ratio of steel to metal scrap, that would just fly up. We got a gas for 1 ton. Nah. None of these are looking good. Let's keep looking for train sets. Nah. Alright, so there's nothing there. Nothing in there. For that to be worth it, it'd have to have 400 tons, so nothing there's going to be worth it. Also, I had so much steel that I was crashing the price because I had several train sets. Let's have a look at this now. I've got loads of vehicles that I've bought that are all stacked up. That's 33 vehicles. So I'm gonna send out my pig to just collect some stuff and drop it off in there to get scrapped, and I'll see how that does. Like, let's see what we pull. Let's see what gets retrieved. I've got two lines set up and I can switch between them whenever because they're saved. I've given them names, so they're saved. That one's for the USSR, this one's for NATO. Still nothing in here. Yeah, nothing in there. But this works. You can definitely make money by just scrapping vehicles that you judge as economical. Let's just do this. I'm gonna buy these and just clear them because they're kinda distracting. Alright, we pulled a metro that is 96 tons and I think I paid about 5,000 for that. I think metros can be really good. You don't need to electrify the track if you just have a locomotive that pulls it. Same with trams, you don't need to electrify track if you want to get trams in. We'll see how that does for scrapping soon. I need more buses coming in here with workers. Also, this is for early incineration that I was doing. I've broken the connection and now it's just finishing burning this up. That's being sent from there. I don't know, I could just leave that running. I'm gonna put this down. Okay, so we're gonna just do a little bit of burning for that. But this is my main incinerator. This is gonna be producing power as well. Oh man. That's too many workers over there. Alright, shit. Too many workers. I wasn't having any go into this incinerator because that's the next stop after this. They go there, then they go here, and I'm thinking about making a recycling area there for all the plastic and metal I've got, because I've got this is full, this is full, this is full, and this is filling up. So I've got 3 full garbage transfers. I'm gonna need another one. And that's just temporary storage of this waste so I can get the plastic and the metal out of it later. Because it doesn't cost much to place this, it's only 2 tons of steel, so it only costs 1,000 to place this. Or 2,000 if you add up all the concrete, gravel, asphalt. So it's really no big deal. And yeah, I've almost scrapped this train. Like, this is a full train that weighed like 200 tons and it's already been scrapped in 5-10 minutes. That's quite cool. Let's see what else there is. Oh, look at that, 16 tons for 1,000 rubles. That is worth 3,200. I'm getting it for way less than that. This is worth it as well. Let's have a look for more. Any train sets? It'd be nice if I got a train set that I could buy in real time and show that. Alright, this tram is getting scrapped now. I really didn't spend much on these trams. I think it was, like, I've had vehicles for 15 rubles. I don't think a tram was 15 rubles. But I got a vehicle for 15 rubles, honestly. That happened earlier. And it weighed like 2 tons. So that's 15 rubles for something that's worth 400. That's like a 3,000%. And I've got my planes here. Let's see if there's any more. This is getting close. Nah. Nah. Alright, they're not worth it. But look at this scrapping, this is cool. Look how fast this metal scrap is flying in. And because I've got my own power plant, that means I'm now going to be producing maybe enough power to run everything. And also we're burning this hazardous waste, and I can refine that later into metal aluminium construction. That's a super high powered way to get scrap, but it's really messy and dirty. This is a clean way to get steel, aluminium, all this stuff. Alright, so I've now got this, so I can designate targets for all the waste types. And the hazardous can go in here as well. I'd probably want to have domestic drop points for waste, or else separate it all. But for now I just need to make sure I've got some space so I don't have everything clog up. Oh man, they're all heading out. Fuck. Shit, I should just buy another one, shouldn't I? I should just... Waste truck, value down. It's annoying because they're not full, 6.5 tons. And this is all just mixed waste as well. Had some hazardous in there from the hospital. Let's try again. Stop production. Alright, I'm turning this notification off. Yeah, we have plenty of fuel. That's what this hazardous waste is, it's fuel. And we have a decent amount of space for... and if I need more, I'll just add some more dumps. I'm probably going to extend this quite a lot. All over here. And then have a separation area around here. And maybe get rid of this mountain. But I'm just focused on the recycling. Let's get another train. Right, here comes the aluminium and the metal aluminium scrap, yeah. Also, I noticed that some aluminium scrap was ending up in here at some point. I've had 26 tons in total. Let's have a look at the economy, the resource movement. Alright, last year I produced 700 tons of steel, this year I've produced 400, and we're into October. See, I went really hard with all the... what'd you call it? Train sets. Here we go, another plane, 3 tons, 2.5 tons of aluminium, 1 ton, yeah, 2.5 of scrap, half a ton of actual aluminium. Let's have a look. Aluminium produced 6 tons. Steel, all time, I've produced 1,500 tons of steel, and that's only with this. That's the only way I produce steel. The only way I ever have so far. Now let's look at mechanical components. I've almost produced as much of that as I've imported, and I've actually exported 66, so I'm producing a surplus in mechanical components now with this scrapping. That's funny, isn't it? And now let's look at electro components. I've produced 28 of them with scrapping. That's a lot. Because you really don't get much. Look, see these tiny numbers? And I've actually exported some for profit because I had too much. But yeah, I'd really like it if we had some more serious planes that we could scrap. It's not great when you have all the infrastructure and they're just not coming along. Because look at this, a Tupolev 142. Let's have a look at some old stuff. Alright, nah. See, look, we should have some really old scrappable stuff, but it's just not really turning up. I kinda got lucky there with a couple of planes. Alright, we've got... Look at the ratios there. We've got 40 tons of metal scrap, 30 tons of steel, 3 tons of mechanical, a ton of electrical. That's really not bad. Oh, 10 tons for 675, don't mind if I do. What did we get? A drop off? He dropped off the 100 ton there. Let's just keep going, keep dragging stuff over. I've still got 34 things. Any trams will just get brought over automatically, it's cool. Trams, train sets. 231 tons for 68,000. I've already had a few of those. It's moving down. It's tempting to just buy that. Economy's looking fine. Yeah, no issues there. I might just wait for that thing to rot a little bit more and then buy it. Look at that, 252 tons. So for this to be worth it at 200 rubles per mechanical scrap, this would have to go down to about 65,000. So it is possible, it could happen. The electric ones, like the really high-end electric ones, they just never seem to get there. Just never really happens. Let's have a look at this now. Nothing there. Nothing here. Nothing here. But that shows that it's working. We're basically managing to break even with all this. Well, we're actually turning a profit, but that's helped by some of the hazardous waste that's been imported. DR1A. That's what he brought over, a 231 ton train. I don't know when I bought that, but now I've got plenty of shit to scrap. Let's try pulling from NATO now. I'm gonna switch it to this, pull some shit from NATO. Yep, this is going quite fast. 500 work days. If I had really happy people living in perfect prefabs, this would be even faster. Alright, let's now switch responsibilities to... where is it? I've just got a line handling this. He's got wait until unloaded, so I'm going to move him over and wait until unloaded again. Yep, and then we keep going. That's so much plastic waste and metal scrap, even some aluminium scrap in there I think a little bit occasionally. It's weird it doesn't seem to have any in the mixture, but that's how much? 200, 400, 600, 700 tons of over 20% metal scrap, over 20% plastic waste. That is a lot. And look, there's another mechanical component delivery going out. Man, there's definitely a hell of a lot of value being created doing this. Definitely. Let's have a look again. $6,000 to $8,000, it's actually getting close. Look at that, it's only 19% wear and tear as well, so you can imagine the possible discounts. I'm buying that. Right, I'm borrowing money to buy that. That's a new one, and I just bought it immediately. That was a new one. Alright, let's try again over here. It's funny doing this whole scrapping thing. Nothing in here. Yeah, nothing that would be tempting over there. Let's have a look at the... yeah, what is it? London Tube, 128 tons, and I've still got 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. This is a road vehicle, so I'm gonna just send this back. Ah, fuck. Still got 4 tubes to get sent over, and I've got 34 vehicles sitting in here, including a lot of train sets, some metros, some coal trains as well, I think. Oh wow. Alright, this electric train is actually running. Finally. Because that one was stuck, I think. That's me using 0.02 megawatts, and that's being powered by... no, it's not. It's coming in through there. Oh wait, now it is. No, it's not. I'm kinda annoyed at this. Yeah, we should have power. Alright, we're almost on to the next one. Come on, where's all the workers? Hurry up. Only 20 workers is shit. Alright, we're on to a track builder next. I got this for about 4,000 and it weighs 20 tons. And it's given me loads of steel. 4,000 for 14 tons of steel is not bad, especially with all the mechanical and electro and all the rest of it. That's really not bad. But yeah, I've got plenty of stuff stacked up to get done. There's a tube coming in, 128 tons. So I'm actually successfully scrapping. And I've still got an early game setup, I have no industries. And there he goes to the depot. Alright, so I'm going to put him on the other one. Alright, he's sent out again. Let's see what he drags back. Oh yeah, that tunnel borer. I haven't had another one of those after that first one, but that was absolutely overpowered. I've been waiting to get some of these dumpers as well, because they're 24 tons, which is actually quite decent. They're never discounted enough to make it worth it, really. Yeah, but that's it. That is the showcase. I've showed the resources as well. The in and out for steel. How much steel did I actually make? Let's have a look again. 1,600 tons I was about to say. So 1,600 times 400 is what, 640,000? 1,600 tons times 400. It's gotta be about 2/3 of a million, yeah. Really not bad at all. That would wipe out my whole debt if I did it again. But I'm gonna wipe that debt out. I'm basically just stacking up vehicles and getting ahead of the... Oh, look at that. 6 tons for $600. Don't mind if I do. Anything else? Nope. Well, let's send it. This is just a road vehicle. 94% wear and tear. $600 for decent amount of scrap and steel. So that's how working. I even found some planes that I could get in there. That was good. I'm glad I got that recorded, because that was kind of bothering me there, not having planes coming in. I wanted to be able to use this. Like, I want to see some Soviet Concords here with 99% damage, 30 years old, but it's just not happening. Maybe because they come in 1972, I think it is. I think those Tupolev 144s come in like early 70s, early mid 70s, 72, 73, 74, something like that. Just going on real life memory from reading about that stuff, but yeah, and we're producing our own power now, so we're not importing any. It's all coming in through the burning of shit over there. Look at that, none coming in through there. Entire grid is ran through this switch. Input connection. Putting that to low. And this has to be high. Yeah, so all the power is being fed by this one power plant that's burning hazardous waste, which is letting us buy more profit. I love this setup of just using hazardous waste. I've also got the sewage running. That's been running the whole time passively and sort of cancelling out some of the domestic costs, and the hazardous waste is 500 per load. So it's probably comparable to this operation I've got here. Let's have a look. We're making scrap. I don't know, I think this might be a little bit more profitable with the scrap and the steel together, especially if I don't have to buy steel. But yeah, this should... And I'm also exporting without sorting, which makes it less lucrative. Considerably less lucrative. Man, we have a lot of power draw at the moment. Look at that, steel and scrap are basically equal. That's a train set that's giving me that. Any more train sets? Oh my god, look at that, 100 tons for 8,000. Holy shit, yeah, buying that. 100 tons of scrap for 9,000. Look at that, that's such a good discount, that's what you need. Like, see if these other really expensive, like really heavy, it doesn't even matter expensive, it's not important. Look at that black smoke, man. This is not in fast forward. That's a decent locomotive. It goes at 100 kilometers an hour. Oh my god. It's decelerating, but it's actually getting some of the way there. It's running under its own momentum at the moment. It may actually make it. Holy shit, it's gonna make it with a broken engine. Wow. That's funny. Its engine shut down and it still creaked its way there. 100 tons of dead weight. And it's there. Alright. That's funny. That's funny, that. Wow. Gas, 1 ton. Nope. Nope, I'm not doing that. It's tempting to just keep going, because it is interesting to just look at all this and see how it works. But yeah, that's it for this customs office. Let's have a look at that one. Nah. Oh, a tube set, 128 tons for 10,000. Wow. Okay, that's eating into my dollars again. But look at that, 42 tons for 27,000. Nah. It's a shame because these train sets are exactly what you want. Alright, so let's tell this London tube that I just bought that only has 67% wear and tear. Alright, it's picked one of the wrong tracks to fucking go down. Ah. Annoying. Fucking annoying. We could drag them back to here and put them in this, but how do I do that? Ah, fuck off. Wait a minute, did this get repaired? What the hell? 20% wear and tear? Oh my god, I think it did. Did that get repaired? Come on, get to positive. It's still heading to depot. I think this fucking thing sneaked a no wait, it didn't, because it would not allow me to do this. That's a decent train that actually runs. It's a shame. 27% wear and tear. I think maybe this is full of trains and it's not letting me put any more in. That might be what's going on there. Still pumping out scrap, yeah. Look at the ratio of steel to metal scrap there, that is really good. Look at how fast the steel is flying up. This is how I got 1,600 steel from just scrapping, and if you're only paying like 5,000 for these things, then wow. And that thing finally made it there after all that time. Oh, I'm getting that gas, that's worth it. Train sets? No. Yeah, these are all not worth it. Alright, let's have a look again for anything. Oh wait, oh, 128 tons for 17,000. Don't mind if I do, I'm borrowing dollars for that. There we go, that's another one. That's another 100 tons of scrap slash steel. Look at that. You can just keep doing this forever. It seems like... Alright, so all the USSR customs share the same pool for scrap vehicles. Let's test that. Well, I could just go on memory at this point, but yeah. Alright, we've got a gas 1173 there. And then here we've got a gas 1173, yeah. See, they all share the same pool. So you can't set shit up at every fucking customs. All you need is to get the corner of the map where NATO and USSR borders meet and set up some electrified rail, and of course aircraft don't care about that, so you're just setting this up there as well. Oh, look at that, a plane. Alright, we've got another plane then. Let's take a look at this. Nah, helicopters. Alright, so we have a plane. That's some aluminium as well now. So this is packed, I've got plenty of jobs to do. This has been quite easy to sustain. I've got plenty more. Still got 30 vehicles in there. We're still just absolutely cranking out steel as well. If my buses can make it in time. Yeah, they can. They just barely make it every time. With the snow, that is. When there's no snow, they easily make it, but yeah. And I've got these guys freezing to death in here, but I don't really care about that, it's fine. Look at that, we've almost done another train set. And here we go, we're cranking out the steel, we're cranking out the metal scrap. And I've fixed all of my bins, and I've got a massive reserve of metal scrap and plastic waste in here that I can easily get out with trucks. I can just use shit trucks as well, the 1930s ones that are 5 tons. And here is the plane. Yep, so that's it. That's how you survive on scrapping vehicles. This has been a fun experiment. I might just continue it for a while and see how far I can get with this, but it's quite tiring doing all the clicking all over the place, like constantly just clicking this shit. It's just, I wish there was a way to automate, so if you could set rules like buy under X dollars per raw tonnage, you know, because the actual technological sophistication of the vehicles is irrelevant. It all gets just broken down into their components, constituents, so it's really just about the weight. That's the important thing. Figure out the amount of well, you're just gonna assume that the tonnage gives you its weight in scrap as a rule, because usually you're actually doing better than that, because you get a yield in steel that draws up the average with any missing scrap weight it's made up for in the steel weight. So you're just basically saying, alright, a train costs 5,000 rubles and metal scrap is 200 rubles and the train weighs 100 tons. Alright, well that's 20,000, so I can easily just buy that and scrap it and make a massive return. So that's how that works. It's funny that it does. Look at this, look, 127 tons of steel, 72 tons of metal scrap. So I assumed that this was going to be something like 200 tons of metal scrap, which would have been about 40,000. Look at that, it's actually more like 80 or 90,000. So, yeah. Look at that, 13 tons of mechanical components as well, 2 tons of electro components, and the mixed waste also is valuable as an ore. So you can basically just, you could probably remain profitable if you just took the metal scrap value, added 50%, and bought everything that meets that rule. Like, you could just say, alright, am I running low on scrappable vehicles? I'll just start buying things that are slightly more expensive then. Like, see this Steam SU250? That thing's scrap value would be about 20,000, because 100 tons times 200, so 20,000, but nah, I think this probably doesn't make the cut because it's so old that a lot of that steel weight would just be lost to metal scrap, so I'm not going to buy that. But this one, 150 tons, 33,000 rubles. That's actually worth it if it's just scrap. I don't know if I've even seen one of these things, so... 115 kilometers an hour as well, wow. And once again, this is not in fast forward. It's not. And its engine is running just fine for the moment. 150 tons. That's 30,000 minimum. And it made it all the way without its engine breaking down. But yeah, look at this yield that I'm getting out of this in terms of steel. Let's have a look at the steel flying up. Look at that steel flying up. That is basically free steel with this, because I assumed that it was going to be metal scrap, so that is absolutely worth it. That's ridiculous how worth it that is. You can definitely do a scrapping economy. Look at that steel flying up, and fast forward, look at that. So yeah. I'm gonna end this here. This is showed everything I've wanted to pretty much. The only thing I really wanted here that I didn't get was some really high mass plane. Like, see this Tupolev 154? No, I'm gonna try and find a better example. Alright, yeah, this 60%, 8 years old FO27. Aluminium scrap is 600 per ton, so that would be 9 times 600 for 5,000, but it's going to cost 60,000, so it's kind of just shit. Like, what the fuck's going on with planes in this? You should be able to easily just find scrappable planes and scrap them, like, what the hell? That is annoying. Yeah, but that'll do it for this. Everything I wanted to show, I've managed to, so I'm pleased. So I'm back the next day, and I've got an MI4 at 91% that weighs 5 tons. So that's 5 tons of aluminium scrap, 2,500, and it costs 700, 600. So that is a 4 times return on investment. So it can happen. And then I'll check... 1 minute. 44%, 15 years. Yeah, so that's just an example to show that it can happen. But see if you could get a really expensive plane like Tupolev 144 at 99% and 30 years old, and it weighs 100 tons or something. What is it that it weighs? There's some planes that weigh like 90 tons, right? This one, 41 tons, 101 tons. This is the big boy that you'd really want, man, for that aluminium scrap. There you go, that's what you want. One of these at 99% wear and tear that's 30 years old. That'll get you there. Alright, that'll do it for now. Video done.